Hey guys, so this is MK Cocoon here. This is an in-depth tutorial for 7.2, and I thought it was important to make this video because this is the most infamous stage in the game, mini boss rush with ball, an ability hard to control and understand. So all the time I see people do random stuff with ball here and lose a ton of time. They just bounce all over the place, get hit, get grabbed. But there are consistent setups and backups to almost always get fast fights. So using the stuff in this video, I will say that 90% of the time you're not going to lose more than 8 or 9 seconds in 7.2. And if you have like if you pull off the setups all properly, if you have like over 3 health, you're never going to die. Although it requires fast reactions and practice, of course. But there are like some exceptions, like Phan Phan can give some completely BS patterns sometimes. But most of the time, after watching this video and applying it, I don't think you should ever lose a PB to 7.2 until you're at like 39 level where 8 or 9 seconds start actually mattering. So, okay, I'm going to start off here with how ball works. So, you'll see that Kirby kind of flashes blue when he's rising and when he's falling, but here at the peak of his jump, he's vulnerable, and then again when he bounces on the ground, then he's also vulnerable. So, but anytime in between he is invincible. So using this, you can kind of understand how you can start to apply this to get quick kills on mini bosses by just barely clipping their hitboxes or abusing certain animations. So you're going to see what I mean as we get into the actual stuff. So let's see, how long is this clip? I'm going to start with bonkers. Okay, here we go. So at the beginning of the fight, you're always going to want to do a full jump to the right. As soon as the fight starts, you hold A and right and press B to ball immediately. And then continue to hold A so that you get a full bounce. And so this first clip shows a perfect fight on the most common pattern. Bonkers has 3 different patterns, 2 of which are very similar. So here, you can clip him on the way up by doing that setup and then get 3 hits like so. So that might take a bit of practice, but this really isn't that hard. Just follow the setup that I talked about. In this clip, I do like the instant unball there after getting the first hit, but that's pretty tight. Really not necessary. You can just do an extra bounce. Here we go, second clip. And it's a bit of a different pattern because Bonkers will jump, but it really isn't any different. 3 hits like before. Again, you don't need the instant unball. If the corpse flies to the right, if you hit Bonkers on his left side and the corpse flies to the right, you might actually need to do an additional bounce to destroy the corpse and not get hit by it. Okay, so those are the easy patterns. Now is the harder pattern, the bad pattern. So in this one, Bonkers is going to keep backing up and you won't be able to hit him with the first hit. So you're going to want to be really aware here. As soon as you hit the ground, if you see that you're not going to get the first hit, then you're going to immediately start wanting to hold left. And then, for some reason, landing in a certain area within Bonkers, as long as you start holding left soon enough, you won't get hit. So that'll let you get 3 hits. Okay. So it's basically between his hammer and like his left foot is like the safe zone. And so you won't get hit, and then you can get 3 hits again, just like that. So yeah, it's pretty precise. This one you're going to want to practice. But yeah, so same setup works for all 3 Bonkers patterns. You just need to have fast reactions. So okay, now we're gonna move on to Phan Phan. This guy is literally the worst. There's some patterns he does, again, like I said before, that are impossible, almost impossible to react to. But they are pretty infrequent, so I have a lot of them here, so they should prepare you for most of them. And once you kind of understand the fight more, you should be able to adapt pretty well to most things. So okay, I don't have any clip for this, but I gotta explain the way that Phan Phan and Bugzzy work, actually. But I'll focus on Phan Phan for now. So he does 2 actions, and then he'll throw an apple. And you want to have killed him by the time he throws the apple. But so out of the two actions, he can do 3 things for each action. He can either roll, he can either jump, or he can stall in place and do nothing. And so that's usually indicated by 2 short hops in place, usually. I think sometimes he only does 1. Another part why this boss is so stupid. But usually you can tell. And then he can also move forward or backward, either a little bit or a lot between actions too. So this guy is literally the worst. Phan Phan is the worst part of 7-2. But a lot of the time, his patterns can be predictable. So, okay, I'll start with his best, the fastest and easiest patterns to deal with. So that's if he stalls and then rolls, or if he rolls immediately. So here, you can see the first clip. Does a stall, the 2 short hops, and then bam, bam, bam. So what you're going to want to do there is you do a medium jump, then you ball on the way down, so you hit him down, up, down. And then on the last hit, you want to make sure you hit him on his right side so the corpse flies to the left so you have free passage to the door. So in this clip, Phan Phan moved forward both before the stall and after it, so he didn't really give me much room. But if Phan Phan starts to roll from like back here or like back here, I usually like to move forward a little bit because that makes the triple hit timing more lenient. I think that might be in the next clip. And so, okay, I'll play the next clip. So in the next clip, when you enter the Phan Phan fight, you want to keep your eyes wide open because he can roll instantly, and that is actually the best pattern because it's the fastest. You can get the triple hit on him super fast, but it's also super hard to react to. So you'll see in a little bit. This is still the first clip. So there you go. I enter the door, instant roll. But fast enough reactions, that's like super fast. The fight is over in 2 seconds flat. So okay, those are the good patterns. Phan Phan, you're probably going to need to practice the most. This guy is the worst. Anyways, if he doesn't roll, things get complicated. So I'll start with the jump patterns. So this is one thing you're going to have to practice. If he jumps towards you, you can time a jumping ball through him like that to get 1 hit, and then react to what he does afterwards. So 2 jumps is somewhat uncommon, but it's honestly not that hard. You do that, and then bam. If you want to play it safe, you can jump away to get the second hit, float up, and then like fall back on top of him with the 3rd ball. It doesn't really matter. Next pattern is jump into stall. So this is where I'm going to introduce something that I call apple kill. That was in my previous guide, but I didn't really elaborate on it very much. So if you get a jump plus a stall, that's pretty annoying. Or a stall and then a jump. So that means he is going to do the apple, and the timing with which he throws out the apple can vary a lot. So this is a little bit unreliable, but I find he tends to do it earlier rather than later. So what you're going to want to do, here, you notice he stalls, so immediately you float up, and then if you get the timing right, you can hit him on the way down as he's jumping up, and then back on the way up. So yeah, this isn't super foolproof, but just pay attention to his patterns. You're going to be thinking. This is one level you cannot autopilot in. You can never autopilot in this level. So you're always going to want to be thinking and reacting to patterns. Oh, and again, make sure you drift out to the right side as you get the last hit, otherwise you're going to take a hit from the corpse, and it can be pretty easy to do that. Okay, so then, I think, do I have... No, okay, so this is the jump into roll pattern. So again, jumping ball through him, and then if he rolls, I find that if you do down-up setup, like you do on instant roll, if you do down-up setup, you tend to take a hit from the corpse, from Phan Phan. So instead what I like to do is do up-down, like that. That's actually the pattern, that's the setup that some runners use for insta-roll also. That can also work. But really just, I guess, experiment and find what works for you. But yeah, so that's how you deal with a roll after a jump. Okay, so then the last pattern here, this is double stall pattern, and this is the worst. Here, he just jumps and he doesn't do anything, so you want to react quick and try to get apple kill. But you're going to need 3 hits. So if you're lucky like that, then you can get that. Like, of course, in the end, 7-2 is really just RNG. This video does show how to deal with most of the RNG, but Phan Phan is like the biggest culprit about that, so even the backups have a bit of luck in them. But yeah, that's basically it. So, I have one last clip. Phan Phan is the longest part of this video, I promise, because it's Phan Phan. So there's one last thing to note in this clip, is sometimes after he stalls, Phan Phan just throws out the apple like instantly, and he doesn't give you time to set up for apple kill. So in that case, I think I have it in this clip here. So there, he stalls, or oh, is this? Okay, hold on. I took these clips a while ago, so I don't remember. He jumps, and there, he didn't even. That's what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes he doesn't even do any animation for a stall. Like in that case, he just instantly throws out the apple. That's really uncommon. But if that sort of thing happens, then you're going to want to abort and just run to the opposite side and just try to react to what he does next. Again, using the tips that I showed you. So there's another stall and another stall. So then you know he's going to throw an apple again. If he jumps, then you do the jumping ball through him. If he rolls, then you do up, down. Or actually, he has 3 health. Okay, he has 3 hits left. If he has 3 hits left, you do down, up, down. And if he has 2 hits left, you do up, down. So yeah, it really is just being able to react fast and knowing what to do in every situation. So, again, experience does play a big role. Okay, finally done with Phan Phan. Bugzzy next. He's a lot more straightforward than Phan Phan, thankfully, because he doesn't have stalls, and he doesn't throw apples. His pattern is... His attack pattern is very similar to Phan Phan. 2 actions, then releasing bugs. And this, he will always do that. 2 actions and then release bugs, unless you get grabbed. In which case, I think that resets his attack cycle. I'm not sure, but it just kind of messes things up, so you can't follow that rule anymore. But just don't get grabbed. And you're always going to kill him before he releases the bugs. So, here we go. So the first clip, thankfully, by far the most common by far the most common pattern, and also the fastest and easiest, is just if he just does an instant charge. Same thing as Phan Phan, exactly the same, down, up, down, and the timing is like more lenient too. So Bugzzy in general is less of an issue. Sometimes he'll do a little hop before he does the charge, but that doesn't, just adjust your timing accordingly. Then he can do jump patterns. This is the same as Phan Phan, just jump through him. And then if he does a charge after, don't try the up-down setup on Bugzzy. So you gotta remember, this is the opposite of Phan Phan. Because if you try up-down, you're probably gonna get grabbed, or you're not gonna be able to hit him, because his profile is so low to the ground. But thankfully, if you do down, up, Bugzzy is very unlikely to hit you with his corpse as he dies, so you can just do that. Just kill the corpse and then move on. Let's see here. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, this is probably what some of you have been waiting for. How to deal with Bugzzy's backstep pattern. That's what we call it. So, that's what it is. So if he backs up right next to the wall, right like this, without charging, he won't bonk off the wall after he finishes his charge. So you can't get the 3-hit setup on him. So if he does this, what you have to do is you want to time a ball hit like this. Hit him on the way down like that. And the timing for that is deceptively tight. This one you're definitely going to want to practice. Let me rewind a little bit. So then, he'll follow it up with the second one a lot of the time. So here, against the wall again. So you're going to want to do the same thing. And then just jump on top of him with ball for the 3rd hit. So unlike Phan Phan, Bugzzy doesn't jump when he does his bugs. So you don't need to float up. You can just land on top of him with the ball. Save a bit of time there. Just dunk on him. Now and then if he doesn't backstep, then it's a lot easier. Or if he doesn't backstep a second time, you just do that, but then if he moves forward a little bit, then you can just do the down, up pattern. Same as before. And then if he jumps, then, like, you know, you get the idea at this point. You just adjust to whatever patterns he gives you. Okay, so we're coming up in 15 minutes now. This video is longer than I thought it'd be. But we're going to finish with Fire Lion. This guy is thankfully the simplest out of all of them. You do the same thing every time. The same thing as Bonkers, exactly the same thing. You just hold forward A and transform. And you're 100% guaranteed 2 hits every single time. 1, and then 2. And then depending on his pattern now, you're either going to get the 3rd hit or you're going to get hit. But if you get hit, he'll only have a bit of HP left, so you can just spit the star back at him. If you get the 3rd hit, then of course there's no issue. His hitbox can be a little lax, so there I probably should have gotten hit, but I didn't. I guess I was just outside his hitbox as I hit the ground, and then I barely clipped him on the way up. Fireline fights can be really weird sometimes. So that's the best case scenario. Then you just grab burning and move on, of course. But as you'll see here, I do have 1 HP. So the strat, if you have 1 HP, is a little bit different. And it works most of the time. There are some I think there. You'll want to be careful with this, because what you do here is as soon as you touch the ground, it's just like the Bonkers bad pattern. What you do for Bonkers bad pattern, as soon as you touch the ground, you're going to hold left. And you'll be able to go back to the left no matter what pattern Fireline does. He does jump here, but I'm pretty sure I tested that he will whatever he does, he won't be able to hit you if you hold left early enough. So then after this, then he only has a bit of health left, so then you just drop the star and you spit it at him. And so this is where you're going to be careful. I've had times before when I tried this, and then he did like a burning attack right across the whole screen, and I got hit because I didn't spit the star fast enough. So just, again, pay attention to what he does, but this should work out fine. Yeah, okay. So that just about covers everything. I'm out of clips. So, one more time, I just want to stress, especially with Phan Phan, and then especially if you get hit and need to really back things up, then there can be a lot of variance in what the mini-bosses can do, but I basically covered every possible pattern. I guess, okay, you're going to want to practice Bonkers and Fireline a lot, because I don't really have backups for those if you don't get the initial setups. But the initial setups are 100% consistent once you learn them properly. So don't mess up Bonkers and Fireline, and I've given you guys the tools to succeed on Phan Phan and Bugzzy. Basically covered everything they can possibly do. So yeah, practice, super important of course. These setups do take a while to understand and pull off with consistency, but it's such a big part of this run that if you're serious about this, you're going to be practicing the stage a lot, at least when you start off. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. Good luck in practicing. Thanks for watching, and bless RNG.